All right, Zebro, it's Loris Rosenberg, and this morning we have mayoral candidate Adrienne Adams of the New York City Council. You're the speaker for the City Council.
I sure am. I'm the speaker leading 50 members of the city council. That's right, the first black speaker of the city council.
So I would assume that you know explicitly how the city works, where the problems are, what the people want. You're hearing all of the stuff all the time. More than probably, let's say, a candidate that's just kind of been the governor and then is now decided he wanted to step down, went away for a while, and now is coming back.
And is reinventing himself or trying to reinvent himself when we
Yeah,
all know the truth. I'll just add that in also. But
that's right.
yes, yeah, I do have those qualifications and then some. The only candidate in this race actually that has citywide governing experience, the only one negotiating now my fourth budget for the city of New York. So yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you. Now, there's a narrative around New York City that it's funny. You often hear mayors talk about fixing crime, but then you often hear people talk about crime being down. And so
Right.
then you hear public safety being obviously on everybody's platform because who doesn't want to talk about making public more safe?
That's right.
What's the truth? What is the truth that you see needs to be fixed in New York City as far as safety? And by
Yeah.
the
Oh,
way,
what a great.
and even tougher question: is it actually fixable? Because for those of us that have been in New York City a long time, things are actually really safe right now, relatively speaking.
Exactly right. Exactly. And you just hit the nail on the head, bro. You hit the nail on the head. It's perception. We have a perception problem because, true, crime is down in New York. New York is still extremely safe overall. But what we have right now, unfortunately, is a proliferation of random stuff going on, right?
Right.
We have the random stuff going on underground, and that's really, it's a problem. It is a problem. We have people in mental health crisis that are taking out their frustration and their illnesses on innocent folks. And that is the problem because the issues of violence going on underground, those are the ones that are
In the
driving
trains.
statistics up. That's right. That's right. But overall, crime is down in New York. So it's a mixed story. But what gets carried out in the media, of course, are those issues of violence and the stabbings and the random stuff. And it's really unfortunate. So all of it is the truth.
Well,
All of
and
it.
so boom. So if we know this to be a fact,
Hmm.
don't people understand that fixing poverty
Right.
and mental health issues and having support
Right.
systems would be a
Right.
direct path to fixing these issues that we have and maybe diverting these people elsewhere or giving these people incentives so that their behavior changes, if that's even possible, right?
I
So,
need to put you in my administration when I'm mayor because
well,
that
but
you have all
There you
that.
go.
well, no, but it would seem that everyone would understand that if we can figure out how
Mhm.
to mitigate poverty in some way,
Correct.
give people some shelter and some
Correct.
safe shelter, we
Yep.
probably wouldn't have the problems we have in the trains.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And what I'm looking to do when I'm mayor, again, I lead the most diverse and the first women majority city council ever in the history of the city of New York. And women govern a little bit differently than men do. The thought process is correct, though. We have to resource that which is giving us the most issue, and that is poverty. That is the cause, the root cause of the issues, particularly in our Black and Brown communities, where we see cycles of poverty and we see crimes being committed against each other, not going out of our perimeters and doing, other things, but against each other. So it is a multifaceted thing when it comes to crime and cycles of poverty, but it is also the fact that those in power have not appropriately resourced those places to truly, truly get to the root cause. And that is my intention when I'm the first mayor, the first woman mayor, and who happens to be black.
There you go.
I'm on your website right now, and I saw some of the things that there's Adrienne is in it for us, and here are some of the things that you've
Yep.
accomplished. But I'm interested in you telling me more about Trump proofing NYC.
Yes. Well, we could just take a look and see what's going on right now in Los Angeles, across the nation. Really, since this guy got into office, he's doing what he said that he would do. Nobody is really talking about Project 2025, though, where the handbook has already been written. The transcripts have already been written for the plan for the United States to, in effect, do exactly what this guy says. Take our country back. Our country back for whom and to where is the question for the rest of us. He is taking it back to the comfort zone where we were in shackles, where we were the underdog with no voice. So we see now the first phases of this. Now and this Trump administration is rounding up immigrants who are the backbone of New York City, the backbone of this nation, rounding up immigrants who have committed no crime. They are lawfully going into their court mandated court dates into the court system, and then they are being taken away to undisclosed places. So when I say Trump proof, I'm talking about right now, once again, being the only candidate in this race that has negotiated a city budget, using resources and putting aside resources within this. We're negotiating now the FY 2026 budget, putting aside resources to make sure that our nonprofits and other areas of the city are protected, because we know that Trump acts with his money, he taketh away. So we are going to have to be prepared as far as the city's reserve. So right now, the city council, under my leadership and negotiation, we are now holding aside at least $1.9 billion. And we are looking for the mayoral administration to do the same, if not do better than that. But we have got to hold aside our resources to protect our city and protect our folks.
But the narrative has been that Eric Adams, who you're not related to, is going to give carte blanche to Trump because, he has kind of had a quid pro quo with Trump since his issues have been pushed to the side for now. Is that true? Like, how do you, as a city council, which has as much power as the mayor, balance this out? What exactly can you do?
Yeah, and you bring up the mayor's problems, and the fact that all of us. Your point is that all of us are being impacted, by these problems. All of us, all of the people of the city, which is part of the reason that I got into this race for mayor. We should not bear the brunt of the scandal that the mayor is under. But you're absolutely right. There something went on. The judge in the mayor's case, Judge Dale Pro, did in fact call it, for all intents and purposes, a quid pro quo, and some kind of deal happened. And we see that playing out right now. So as far as what the city council can do, we do have, budgetary discretion. We do really hold the cards when it comes to passing this budget, which is due on the 30th of June, according to our city charter, and we will pass it successfully. So when it comes to the budget, the powers of the purse, the city council still, holds that power. So I'm talking about, protecting, billions of dollars for the benefit of the people of the city when it comes to working with the mayor, in this instant with the budget right now.
But it's not as if, the mayor has the NYPD. The mayor has, and in some cases, that's what we're seeing around the nation, right? Congress controls the purse, yes? City council controls the purse, yes? But Trump has the military. Trump has these four, he has these agencies that have, weapons and that are kicking in doors. And so for the citizens, we're kind of like, awesome, you're going to take them to court. Cool. But my neighbor just got dragged down the street to an undisclosed location. I can't find him. Yeah. So many of us in this moment right now are looking like, how can you actually stop an armed agency from terrorizing my community when, and so what is your answer to that?
The answer is that, full transparency, it's limited. The capacity of the council, we're legislators, we're policymakers. We hold the oversight for these agencies and hold them accountable, and have the people come in and tell their stories, and we hold them accountable. And therein lies the power of legislation and how we make the bills and make the law. But you're absolutely right. The power of the agency is within the discretion of the mayor. Again, that's why I'm running,
Right.
for this authority, because we cannot sit by and let unlawful things happen under the guise of this being the law, when it's not. New York City is a sanctuary city. I'm fighting to make sure that it maintains the status of sanctuary city. And a lot of your listeners know, who are listening, the mayor wants to erode that,
Yep.
our status as a sanctuary city. And I have consistently fought back and said, no, that's not what we're doing. The laws already exist, and it's enough for NYPD, for ICE, to do whatever they need to do, and for our citizens to still be protected. So you're absolutely right. The authority over agency still lies with the mayor, lies with the Congress, etc. But the power of the law and, for the budget lies with the city council, which I lead.
Adrienne, just on a human level, how do you sort of mentally, emotionally, et cetera, deal with being someone who has done all the right things, do the work, are as experienced and prepared for this as anybody could be? We're already dealing now with one Trump-loving crook who's currently mayor. And then we have another crook who's the other leading candidate who, I don't know whether he's Trump-loving or not, but it seems that those who love Trump love him, which is interesting. And you went from one to another, and you're obviously in a tough spot with the level of name recognition those people have. Just
Yes.
how frustrating is that? How do you combat that? And do you plan to keep going should it not work out this time?
Oh my gosh. Thank you for the question. Beautifully asked, by the way. This race has been the most unusual race probably in my lifetime, and I happen to be in it. But I actually got in it when I realized that 4 deputy mayors resigned at the same time, and I couldn't sit back and do nothing. It illustrated the dysfunction of the administration, and I had to get into this race. But you are mentioning Scandal leaving City Hall and Scandal wanting to come into City Hall, and the fact that this name recognition for the former governor is it's serious. People have forgotten his entire record. He is giving part of his record. People remember him as being the guy on TV that gave the statistics and all of this news during COVID on a daily basis. But they are forgetting that he slow walked PPE and vaccines into Black and brown communities. We were dying at the highest rates across the nation. And folks are forgetting that he had the power and authority to make these things happen, to save lives in our communities, and he slow walked it. I happen to have lost my father during COVID, so I take all of this stuff extremely personally. And we watched it. I was obviously a city council member, during the pandemic, and I've got the notes of the meetings, and it's all well documented. We're waiting for the governor. We're waiting for the governor to do X, Y, and Z. And it didn't happen. And when it did happen, it happened very, very late in the process. But people have forgotten the larger record of Andrew Cuomo. So when I go out here across and build coalitions, I use my voice, to have people remember we lost teachers, we lost grandparents, we lost people that were in our choirs and all over the place in our communities at a higher rate than anyone else across this country. They were looking at doing vaccines in the Javits Center, one of the lowest percentages of deaths in this city. Instead of moving it around, into our communities of
Made
color,
people come all the way over to the Javits.
There you go. So it's an uphill battle, but I'm in this race to win this race, and I'm focused on the primary right now. Winning.
The irony is that's so crazy too is that not only did he fail miserably in so many ways during COVID, I would say, Adrienne, some of the people's name recognition, it comes with their positive association of him during COVID because he held the fakakta press conferences where it seemed like he was doing something big.
Yeah. Exactly right. And that's exactly what I'm saying. That's the guy that they remember, the guy that was on TV, midday every day, giving the news. He was a news celeb. So that's
like his brother. Right, exactly.
Well, but then you factor in the names on bridges and the amount of time that he spent in the public eye. So, and by the way, we're talking about Cuomo. For those that don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. Born
but
into
there is
political royalty.
but there is a movement amongst you and other candidates to not rank him at all. And he
That's
has
right.
said that he would then move to be an independent or something like that, which for me is more peculiar than anything, which is you resigned in disgrace from the state position. And then now you want to run the city, which says to me there must be some money for you to get or gain here, which we now have found out that some MAGA donors have colluded to try to donate money to him in the tune of $600,000 that was denied, that he wasn't able to use. So there's just even more corruption even as he
Yeah.
attempts to get into the office.
Yeah.
But
Julie,
do you, as a politician, do you believe, what do you think that people actually care about? Because it doesn't seem to be that people are bothered by corrupt politicians.
it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing to
Should
me.
I say bothered
that
enough?
bothered enough to move them. Again, the former governor is someone that would have been impeached. Listeners, he would have been impeached by the state legislature had he not resigned. So, it's incredible to me that it doesn't seem to matter to folks. What seems to matter is this image of Andrew Cuomo, not the work of Andrew Cuomo, but this image of this Superman figure, which is absolutely not true, and it's baffling.
Before we let you go, Adrienne, thank you for your time today.
Yeah,
I've publicly said I'll be ranking you as one of my candidates.
thank you.
Also donating. But what is your housing plan? So we've had Brad Lander on, we've had Mondani on, and they've been pretty thorough in sharing with us because I feel like housing is the big issue. Rent, landlords that have vacancies that are just kind of sitting on it because they want to keep it rent control and they don't want to make any upgrades because they don't want to invest because they can't increase the rents, et cetera, et cetera. More affordable housing. What is your plan?
What's interesting with that in that question is that other candidates can give you their plan, but I can tell you what I've done.
There you go.
Which is the extreme difference here as far as who is running, who is already doing the work, who is already leading in New York City. I have already championed the most pro-housing victory in a generation by passing the city of Yes/City for All proposal in the New York City Council, which will bring us over 82,000 units of affordable housing across the city of New York. I also insisted on building in $5 billion in addition to fortifying this proposal. And that $5 billion handles infrastructure for those communities like mine in Southeast Queens that are prone to flooding. We're going to need that infrastructure when we start to build. This $5 billion also takes care of NYCHA repairs and Mitchell-Lama repairs for those residents that need to stay there and need to live in dignity where their apartments may be in disrepair. And we know many, many units are in disrepair. Part of this money also goes to homeowners who may lose their homes to foreclosure and deed theft that need repairs to their homes in order to make their homes safe and up to code as well. And also we're expanding financing for City FEPS vouchers to make sure that folks are able to subsidize their rent, stay where they are and move out of shelter, and also prevent eviction. So I've already done the work. I've already championed over 120,000 as city council leader, city council speaker, 20,000 units of housing. It's going up right now as we speak under my leadership. So folks can tell you what their policy is, but I'm telling you what I'm doing.
There it is. Adrienne Adams, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Adrienne for the people.
For the people.
For the people. You can go look up all her platforms, Investing in Families, Trump-Proofing NYC, her record of service, her public safety plan, and Affordability plus housing. So it's all there for you to look up as we get closer to the primary and ranking Adrienne Adams to make sure we somehow balance out the corruption in this city, right?
Absolutely
nice.
right. I'm going to throw out, you can't say it, but I can. Rank Adrienne Adams #1. Please
I can
go to
say it.
adrienneforthepeople.com.